me?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we can all hear you, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thank you, Sammy, for the opportunity. I must say, in fact, you're full of a lot of wows here and there. Okay, very quickly, before I'd like to talk to us about leadership skills. And you hear about who is a leader, and I'm sure you've been hearing a lot about leadership and leadership and leadership. But the point is, everybody wants to be a leader. Yes, everybody is actually supposed to be a leader, but there is what they call leadership skills and effective leadership skills. Just like you have communication skills and effective communication skills. I have my background in communication, and I can tell you a lot of times we don't communicate as it were. When we think we do, the same goes for leadership. Someone might be gentle, someone might seem so nice, but he or she does not have effective leadership skills. How well do you understand your passion, your power, and your leadership presence? Determines on how well you would lead. When I'm talking about leadership, I mean even in your small circle, your small clusters where you have maybe at school, in the workplace, in your places of worship, or wherever you have more than one person, even in your homes, that's effective skill is supposed to be displayed. Leadership is about inspiring people to do things they never thought they could. While effective leadership skills demonstrates one, integrity, communicates effectively, leading by example, recognizing successes and appreciating them, making hard decisions, and empowering others. First, what do I mean by demonstrating integrity? As an individual, that you desire to see. Do you earn it? Do you have it in you? Your subordinates, your co-workers, do they see such doggedness in you? What is integrity? I'm sure we are all abreast with the word. Do we demonstrate integrity? As a leader, that should be a key point. Demonstration of integrity. Effective communication. I might say, before I leave this office, I want all the files attended to. That's communication, right? But was it effective? It wasn't. Why don't I delegate? Why don't I delegate a role and say, Sharon, for instance, forgive me if there's any Sharon here, but Sharon, for instance, I think you should deal with 1, 2, 3 files, while Donald deals with 1, 2, 3 files. And trust me, I would get results. That is effective leadership skill. Leading by example. I gave us a prelude of it earlier. That which you desire, you have to set the pace for people to see. You have to lead by example. I'll give you an example. Some of the leaders or elected, leaders that we have, most of them want to see a sane society, stability, they want to see economic diversification here and there. And the big question is, what have you done in your own stead to ensure that the young men and women in the society give you that stability? What have you done? Have you led by example? So going quickly, recognizing successes. A lot of leaders, as it were, do not recognize the successes that is being achieved by their subordinates or by their co-workers or people that they're supposed to be leading. They don't appreciate. There's no motivation. You understand? If you don't recognize what people do, then you would have difficulty in appreciating them. That is a bedrock of conflict. Internal conflict would set in that will not, escalate in drop of man hour and drop of productivity, which is at the workplace or even in your homes, in your corporate organizations, in your churches, in your schools. In any organization where you find more than one person, there has to be a team leader. So if you do not motivate people, you would have difficulty in achieving results. A leader must understand that at certain times, you need to make hard decisions. What are tough decisions? We have this leader in China and in Korea. I'm sure you've heard about some of the names, Lee Kuan Yew and stuff like that. At some points, they needed to lock up their borders to look within. That is a leader. In Africa here, yes, we've had leaders in the past, but currently, I cannot say if there has been any leader, any African leader that has taken a hard decision. Rwanda's president is trying, because of the hard decision he took on religion. I think that's a good one because of what that nation has been through. So how do you deal with change? How do you solve problems in your space? How do you build trust and respect? How do you manage conflict in your workplace or in your organization or immediate? Some people would, as a leader, they want to take sides, they want to do favoritism. But I tell you, people see who you are from afar. Then no one is a born leader. I do not subscribe to that fact. No one is a born leader. It is groomed from your first environment, which is your family. It is groomed. And gradually, when the passion begins to grow along the line, you gradually become who you want to be. Leadership is the ability of an individual or individuals to influence and guide followers. But you cannot just influence followers negatively. Your influence has to be in positivity. But what have we been having so far? A whole lot of negativity here and there. Your ability, if you're able to even influence your small cluster of maybe 5 friends, 5 colleagues, 5 family members, positively, you're able to influence them to do something, to make a certain decision, then I tell you, you're on the road to effective leadership. I gave us an example earlier of South Africa's Nelson Mandela, We have Winston Churchill. We have the India's Mahatma Gandhi. We all know the story. We have Haile Selassie. We have Kofi Annan. We've had Julius Nyerere, Thomas Sankara, Jomo Kenyatta of Kenya. In Nigeria, we've also had leaders in the past. that have been effective. But I can tell you that was probably, 20, 30 decades, ago. 10, 20, 30 years ago. Not currently. I have not seen anyone that has given, or exhibited any form of effective. Remember, I'm not talking about just leadership skills. I'm talking about effective. When something is effective, it means that at the end of the day, there was positive results. Now, we're going to look at, some qualities of effective leadership. An effective leader is supposed to be selfless. It's supposed to be honest, integrity, She's supposed to be trustworthy, persevere, innovative, which is what we need now, not just in our nation, Nigeria, but in our continent, Africa at large. We need a whole lot of innovation and strategic thinking. We lack it, I must say. Civic mindedness, that goes to my passion of humanitarianism. A lot of our leaders abuse human rights. So for you to be an effective leader, then you must have the interests of your nationals at heart, which goes to, which takes me to, nationalism versus patriotism. You must first be a national. You must think of the good of your nation first, the good of your citizens first, before any personal aggrandizement. A good leader must be emphatic. You must put, I'd like to use Nigeria as an example. You must put the pain that your people are going through in view. Feel their pain. Like you go out today and you see, for instance, a woman hawking. Yes, some people are supposed to hawk. Otherwise, others will not feed. I agree. But that woman that is hawking will now be arrested, or she will get her wares thrown into the gutter, for instance. That is lack of, civic mindedness. So an effective leader must have the interests of his nationals at heart. See, if you bring people closer, you will have the best of them. People will naturally preserve the nation or the state or local government or the organization, the family, establishment, wherever you find yourself. The moment you put yourself into people's shoes and draw them closer, feel their pain, they will naturally preserve it. But once that is not there, there's a natural survival instinct of every human being. And before you know it, there's a breakdown of law and order. Then you have failed. You might think you're a leader, but your leadership is not effective. Accountability. Do we have that? We don't have. Even when we as citizens request for accountability from our leaders, we are harassed. We are seen to have gone overboard or seem to be asking for too much. But no, it is a role of any leader to be accountable effectively to her citizens or to his citizens or subordinates or family members, whichever way you put it. Listening, which is the last one I'm going to take. Listening is an art. Effective listening takes away a whole lot of conflictual issues here and there. If you learn to listen as a leader, that I believe you all will become Listen. If you listen, I'm emphasizing on that. You will even read or understand the unsaid words. Someone might be telling you a yes, but if you are a skilled and effective listener, you will know that behind that yes is a capital no. Mastering the art of persuasion and influence. Take this down. Mastering the art of persuasion and influence is the bedrock of effective leadership. Mastering the art of persuasion and influence is the bedrock of effective leadership. Every leader, if you have the opportunity to meet them during your mentoring sessions, look out for these qualities and also learn. You must have an open heart to learn. You must learn and keep learning. Finally, emotional intelligence is key. We see most of our leaders, when I'm talking about leadership, even you, how do you react to issues? How do you see things? Do you see, for instance, a conflict that is supposed to be a mole, like a mountain? How do you react to issues? The power of the tongue, the things you say. How do you control your words in public? Goes a long way to determine effective leadership. Let me blow your mind. Sometimes there might be a situation and everybody will be looking out. What would the team leader say? What will be the team leader's response? But at the end of the day, you see that there's going to be the reaction, of the team leader, of the leader of the pack, in whichever area, establishment, nation, the reaction of that leader will definitely determine the success of that team. Emotional intelligence is key. How well are you emotionally intelligent? Even in your everyday life. Temperaments. How do you deal with the different temperaments of the people around you? Leadership is a great task. It's a huge one. But if you are ready, it is something you will achieve. Some of us are still, a work in progress. And I'm confident that great leaders will emerge from here. I know so. And thank you. Let me get your questions and comments. I like an interactive session.
Thank you very much, Madam Sophia. Before the questions come in, I won't lie. I only got about 5% of what you said because I was busy admiring the video. But I'm sure that the students actually got a lot more than I did. Okay, just kidding. Fantastic session. So let me go to our class captain for today. Is he still here? Class captain, if you're here, you can unmute your mic.
Class captain is here, sir.
Brilliant. Okay, so just run through the rules so that everybody will be familiar with it, especially our lecturer who is joining us only for the very first time, and for some of the students who probably are joining us for the first time. So run us through how this will work, and then the floor is yours.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I want to say good evening to everyone and good evening to our own madam, the lecturer. It's good having you with us tonight.
Thank you.
Please, thank you, ma. It's time for question and answer. As we always do, we will appeal to everyone who has questions to ask to please raise your hand. And at the moment, all mics should remain mute until you are called for questions. That's when you will unmute your mics. And we'll also go to the chat box.
Is the captain still with us?
Yeah,
Captain?
I think he had a little
Okay, let me take over from him until he joins us. Okay, so the process is very simple. If you have a question, just raise your hand. I'll go there and then I'll select randomly. If you No, I won't do it. I want to build leaders. Jessica, go ahead. Jessica, take over as the class captain. Jessica, are you developing cold feet?
Maybe they're having network issues.
Okay, so in the absence of that, let me do it. If you have a question, just raise. Please, somebody's mic is not muted. If your mic is not muted, please do me a favor, mute your mic. Thank you very much. If you have a question, you raise your hand. Please, if you're in a noisy place, don't use the microphone facility so we don't disturb what we're doing here. But we're going to take as many questions as possible. We encourage everybody to ask questions. If you're in a noisy area, just go to the chat box, type your question. It will be read. Thank you very much. So I'll go to the house. Augustine Power, the floor is yours. You can unmute your mic and ask your first question.
All right. Good evening, ma.
Good evening. Good evening.
Ma, I want to find out, in a situation where you are a leader and then you are subordinate to the people you lead, or the people you see as your subordinate, they are not responding to your commands. Maybe your kind of style of leadership. How do you cope with that kind of situation when you are giving a certain person responsibility and the person is not doing it at the time when he's supposed to? How do you react to that?
Okay. There's always one in every team. There's always one. So you're not expected to get 100% loyalty. But if you have someone that is doggedly, I like to use the word stubborn and difficult. Some people are, if you have somebody like that, then you have to re-strategize. How do you re-strategize? For instance, you could tell the person, okay, you could have a one-on-one, with a person. In conflict management, we call it a caucusing. You could have a one-on-one with a person and ask him, for instance, Sophia, what is it that is so difficult for you to understand? Is there something that you think you're not getting straight whenever I give an instruction in this office or in this group? Then you listen to what the person has to say, whatever the person has to say. Then you become, as a leader at that point, you become assertive. You now tell Sophia, for instance, say, Sophia, I like the fact that you've been plain and open with me, but for the success of this group, or for the success of this team, I'd like you to take instructions from me so we can make success. That is an assertive leader. Sophia, at this point, does not have a choice but to take and listen to your instructions. If she doesn't, or he doesn't at that point, then insubordination sets in. That person does not necessarily belong to your team. You have to step that person down so you can succeed. Otherwise, that individual will go around and corrupt psychologically the minds of others, and you would have a problem there. But on your own, you must once or twice try to have a caucus, a one-on-one, a private meeting, not bullying the person, but having a effective dialogue session with the person to know. Then you make yourself assertive and give an instruction, and that's it. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, ma. Yes, ma.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Sophia. Thank you to the gentleman who asked the question. We'll go to the chat box right now, and Gift, I'll come to your comment very shortly. But Chukuma Onyezere, made two posts. I'm going to take both of them. I don't know if our lecturer is going to take them one after the other, or she wants to take both simultaneously. Chukuma says, okay, Chukuma says leadership has different styles. Which do you honestly believe is the best? That's the first part of his question, or his first question. The second, he said, please, man, what are the challenges to leadership at different levels? Madam Sophia.
Okay, the challenges to, let me start with the challenges as a conflict manager. The challenges to leadership at different levels. One is insubordination. Decisiveness, making hard decisions, as at every point in your quest in trying to achieve a result, you must make a decision. So making that hard decision is a huge challenge. It's a huge challenge rather for any leader. It is quite challenging making hard decisions, and emotional intelligence is a huge challenge. We don't have it. It's something we lack. He said leadership has different parts. Yes, I agree. And that's why I started by saying mastering the art of persuasion and influence is the bedrock of effective leadership. If you ponder, that's my word, if you ponder over this tidbit I gave, you must master the art of persuasion and influence for you to have effective leadership. You'll be able to go around the dynamics of all the parts of leadership, because it is not so much of a cumbersome thing to say, as it were. Someone might say, leadership is difficult, leadership has this part, leadership has that part. Yes, but if you're able to master that art, then you can deal with the different sectors, just like a technocrat will be able to deal with a different sector, just like a professor will be able to deal with the different sectors. So just master that art of effective persuasion and influence, then you make a lot of progress. I hope I answered your question effectively.
Thank you, ma'am. Queen Ed Banigo, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. My
Good
question.
evening.
Good evening,
Go
ma'am.
ahead.
My question is, how can a leader who is temperamental be able to manage or to lead his or her subordinates effectively? Thank you.
Anger management. And that's where emotional intelligence comes in. I had a very temperamental boss, but trust me, we never made success until I left that organization. We were always the last to submit reports. We were making mistakes because you can't even stand his presence. Very difficult human being. So if you know that you have anger issues, don't take up any leadership position first until you can work on yourself. That's why I gave us tips on emotional intelligence. How do you handle yourself? Your anger management tips. Stay away from the people that, give you those triggers. There are most times, if you need to really get upset, if I enter your closet or enter the toilet. I had someone also that was doing that. Either you cry or you shout, you scream. Anger is an emotion, just like love, just like crying, just like anything. Anger is an emotion, and God has put it in us. But how you use anger is not completely bad, because you also need anger to make hard decisions as a leader. But how do you use anger constructively will determine your level of, success. So for a very angry person, you must deal with yourself first. Do not take any leadership position until you have convinced yourself that you have that emotional stability a bit. A lot of us don't. you can avoid, you can walk away, or if you agree to stay, then you must deal with your anger issues yourself as an individual.
Please, John Peters is back, sir. I'm so sorry, sir.
No problem, John. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I got locked out for reasons I don't know. Okay, we go to Davin. Davin, you can come up with your question, please.
Okay. Good evening, ma.
Good evening.
Yes. Ma, I was listening to you and you said leadership is the ability of an individual or individuals to guide others, to guide or influence others. Howbeit, you said positively. My issue is who determines if it's positive? Is it the people you are leading or yourself? Because if I want to do something, to me, if I achieve, no matter any measure I take to achieve that thing, it will be positive to me. So who determines if it's a positive leadership or not? And my second question, please, who would you term to be a good leader? Like in your own words, who would you term to be a good leader? Thank you.
Okay, like you want a name? You want me to give you an example of a good leader?
Like what must someone achieve? Let's say an achievement for that person to be a good leader, for you to term the person a good leader. Thank you.
All right. Okay, first, you talked about leadership, the ability of an individual. Who takes the ball? The leader. The pack, which are the members of the team, might have a positive, how do I put it now? They might have positivity in their drive to ensure their team succeeds. But if they have a lousy leader, my dear, that team will suffer. And no matter how much they complain, if they have a bad leader, the team will suffer at the end of the day. And the leader will be the one to take the blame. Does he or she care? Most of them don't. Some of them will pass the bulk of blame to the subordinates or to members of the team that you didn't do this well, that's why we failed. Not knowing that he did not do it well, and that's why the team as a whole failed. How do you determine the qualities of a good leader? I talked about it here. A good leader must be trustworthy. The team members must trust you. They must trust your decisions. A good leader must have that art of listening. You must listen to your teammates. Oga, the way we are going, we will not make progress. Oga, no, this one will be a blunder. Oga, this one will be this. Oga must listen. If you don't listen, the team will suffer. A good leader must be empathic. You must put yourself in people's shoes, for Christ's sake. Team A, member A, for instance, is not feeling too well and cannot make it to work today. It's not something that you should bring down the roof. What if it was you that was sick? You must be empathic. A good leader must have civic mindedness, humanitarianism. You must learn how to respect human beings, the rights of human beings. The fact that you're the leader of the team doesn't mean that you're like the ruler of the tribe of Israel, as it were, and you would not understand, what people go through. No, a good leader must be innovative, must be strategic at every point in time. What do we do? This decision, the way we're going, we're not making progress. So I think we should go this way. I think we should do this. You must search, you must research for good ideas to ensure that your team succeeds. But if you lack all of this, then I'm sorry, there can't be effective leadership. And do you know that you might have good people in your team that would have made that team to succeed, but because you don't listen to them, everyone has to bear the brunt. I hope I answered your question.
Okay, ma, you answered it, but I'm still unclear about certain things. So let me use let me give you an example. You mentioned someone like Hitler.
Okay.
He led a revolution during his time. Will you term him as a good leader?
At that point, what Hitler did, I think, at that point was a nay for me. But when you look at international politics, I think he made a good decision. International politics, you need to make certain hard decisions to conquer. And that's what they do. So at that point, as an individual, I don't think what the decision he took was okay. But professionally, I would say he took a good decision.
Thank you, ma.
Okay, thank you very much, ma. Okay. And I want to believe Mr. Davin is satisfied with his question.
I hope so.
Yes, I'm okay.
Thank you. Please, to everyone, once you ask a question and it is exhaustively attended to and you feel satisfied, help us and lower your hand so we know those that we are still working with. For now, we'll take one other question from the hall, after which we'll take one from the message chats. Over to Ekine Tamonosaki. Please unmute your mic and come up with your question. Thank you.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah. As a leader, how do you make your subject work in the same line and approach you want them to work with in order to achieve a certain goal?
Okay. I was expecting this question. I was expecting it long ago. Effective communication. If you want, as a leader, I'll give you an example. If you want a report to go out, you all need to achieve this report. You must communicate effectively. How do you communicate effectively? Assign roles. Say, Eric, handle A, Joanne, handle B, Michael, handle C. You must communicate effectively. You don't just, generalize or expect people to think. You must speak in plain languages for people to understand. Is that good?
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Akine, I want to believe you are satisfied with that question, yes, with the answer given, please.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we now go to the message box, and we take this very one from Osademe, who asks, I wouldn't know if Mr. Sami, who stepped in my absence, have taken this question. I don't know. Please, if it does, we will know. How can a person become emotionally intelligent?
Okay, I think we have taken that.
Okay, ma. Thank you, ma. We go to the next question from Chukuma Oyezere, who asked, what made transformational leaders like Lee Kuan Yew stand out among other leaders? Ma?
Okay. Hard decisions. Hard decisions. I used him as an example because I truly desire such decisiveness and strategic thinking from my own leaders here in Nigeria and in Africa. At some point, a leader is supposed to look inward and see that what is the best way to deliver, let me use the word deliver, my people from insecurity, from economic downturn, from challenges here and there. Lee Kuan Yew did not look back. He had to make a hard decision. At that point, he took that bold step. Some people, even his citizens, might be having issues. It wasn't okay with them. But today, everyone is talking about him. They are competing globally with the world's best economy. So, as a leader, at certain points, you must take that hard decision.
Okay, ma. Thank you very much, ma. We take a follow-up question from Sen Chukuma Onyezere, who says, at what point do we use the various leadership styles, that is autocratic, democratic, laissez-faire, and what, in your estimation, are the indices of effective leadership? Ma?
Now we are looking at all points, whether democratic, autocratic, there's not, of course, of course, we're using, or we are rather used to a democratic process, but you have to be diverse, you have to be dynamic. If it comes to a democratic system or process, as it were, you know what to deal with. If it comes to autocracy, you know what to deal with. If it comes to militarism, you know how to handle it. But everything I've told us here about effective leadership skills at every point in time must come into play. It must come into play. And that's where I will still repeat, the bedrock of leadership, emotional intelligence. Maybe it's just the terminology, emotional intelligence, your psyche. You should know what to do at certain points in time. If you're going towards a gutter, for instance, a drainage, and your mind tells you that there's a drainage here, won't you stop? You'll stop and look for another way. So that's how it works. So don't even mind the terminology. It's your psyche, your level of mental alertness. It goes a long way in your dealing with effective leadership process.
This is wonderful, ma. Ma, I must tell you, we are enjoying every bit of point that you are bringing out. Thank you, ma.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we now go to the house. We go to the floor, and we ask Queen Arizuru Akoroma to come up with the next question. Please,
that's me. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ma.
Good
So I'd like to
Queen.
ask, how do you deal with, good evening, how do you deal with people that have the talent, have the skill to do a particular thing, but they are too sure of what they can do and they procrastinate a lot? How do you get them to actually sit down and start working and get things done before a deadline?
You mentor them. See, a lot of people, if you understand the different personality types, you have melancholic, you have sanguine, you have the phlegmatic, you have the choleric. You have different types of personality in your everyday life. You come across them in all circles. You might see someone like the example you gave that is pure talented and can do a lot, but just can't stay at a place. Those are the sanguines. They just can't stay at a place. So how do you deal with such a person? You don't put a sanguine in an office space, where you need to write reports. That report will never come up. You put that sanguine on air, you should go and read news, or you should go and do reporting. You have to put people in their place, in their spaces where they can do best. Otherwise, you have issues. If you force a phlegmatic person to go and be an on-air personality, there will be blunder. The phlegmatic person is a fileman or woman. Keep the person in the office to be writing report or to be prescribing news, editing news, and hand the news over to the choleric or the sanguine. So you must understand the different personalities that are know where to put people. Otherwise, you will keep having, workplace frustrations and you would not achieve success.
Okay, thank you very much, ma. And I want to believe Queen is satisfied with that answer.
I hope she is.
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. We now take the next question from Felix Dekaye. Please open your mic and come up with your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening.
Good evening, Felix.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, you said something about that a good leader must be emphatic and a good listener.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I want to ask, what if you are working in an organization like this, and your leader is someone that don't listen, and each time you try to reach out to him, he will like, no, he doesn't want to hear from you. If you have something to relate to him, he doesn't want to. Man, how can you relate with such a leader?
There's always a way. There's always a way. Yeah. There's always a way to relate with difficult people. Like I said, you can't take that away. Some humans are damn difficult, especially in the workplace. And if you have such a boss or such a leader or such a supervisor that never listens, it's always difficult to get across to, you'll find a way. Everybody has a price. Every human being has a soft spot. Maybe if you now see that you're going through the formal way too much, maybe you go informal a bit. You could say, sir or ma, I'd like us to talk over something, maybe over a drink. Or sir, where will you be? I'd like to do this. Or you visit the home, or you visit the person in his or her good elements. There is always a soft spot, like I said, in every human being God has created. So when you see those, in fact, let me blow your mind there. When you see those people that come up so difficult, they are shouting, they are aggressive, it is born out of low self-esteem and fear. Those people might be the nicest of all people. And they are doing all of that to protect themselves so that people don't come around to hurt them or to take advantage of them. So if you steal, an opportunity and try to be informal at times, you'll get the best out of them.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma. We go to the chat box now, and we take this question from Queenet Banigo, who says, good evening, Ma. Please, my question is, in a situation where you are leading, but the people you are leading are much older than you, and they aren't giving you your desired respect as a leader, I paraphrase that. How do you cope with this, Ma?
Assertiveness. Most times the people we lead are older than us, but you must be assertive and you must lead by example. You don't go there and start crying that, oh, is it because of my age? Are you people are not respecting me? Is it because of I'm a woman? Is it because I'm this? I'm a small boy, I'm a small girl? No, you lead by example. You must be assertive. For instance, if you're to resume, an intervention or a role by 8 a.m., you, the leader, you must be there by 7:30. If you're to attend a function by 10 a.m., you, the leader, you must be there by 9:30. If you're to write a report, a joint report, you, the leader, you must contribute. You must get involved in doing it. Then, at that point, you see that even your subordinate will say, Madam does not like this, or God does not like this. So it's not even about your age. The governor of our state leads people that are much, much older than him, even in his cabinet. But that clout is there. The president leads people that are much, much older than him, but the clout is there. At your organizational levels, directors, bosses, they lead people that are much, much older than them. But it is your self-confidence that will determine the level of respect you will get from your subordinates. You can be 18 years and you're leading people that are in their 30s or in their 40s. They must respect you because that is in fact, that crown is there as a leader. They must respect that crown on you. But it is earned. It is earned. It is not forced. You must lead by example. and you must be assertive. You don't, at that stage, you don't go about breaking rules just to please anybody. You must be assertive. If someone comes, if you give an instruction that 10 a.m. is 10 a.m. and someone comes 10 minutes past 10, that person does not join your program or that person does not join your team. You are being assertive, you're not being harsh. That is a hard decision, decisiveness. I hope I answered your question.
That's wonderful, ma. That's wonderful. I must say that one of the things that you mentioned there that captured my attention is when you said that if a leader is leading a delegation to somewhere, the leader must arrive there 10, 15 minutes before the lead. I think we are seeing this in the leadership quality of our coordinator here, Mr. Sami. There is no way Mr. Sami will ask you to go and gather, that you will come, that he will come and meet you there. You are the one that will go and meet him there.
He's a good leader.
Yes, ma'am. That's one of the things we have learned from him. Okay, ma'am. We go to the floor now.
Okay. Don't worry. For praising me in front of my boss, I will buy small things for you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. That's my dog. Okay, ma'am. We ask Esther Nwozuzu to please come up with her question.
Thank you very much, John Peters. Good evening, ma.
Good evening, Esther.
Good evening, ma. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, ma. Ma, please, I want to find out.
Okay.
It's been bothering me for time. When you look at people, you see that the person is struggling. The person is a leader, but the person is struggling in that area. And you that is probably following at that time, you're looking at this person is struggling. You find it difficult to say, man, you're struggling in this area. I don't think you're doing well here. You do well. And I've been thinking, is there no leadership course that somebody can, draw out? Like I told myself, I said, I want to draw out a leadership course not born to lead humans. Because I know that the common saying is that everybody is born to lead. But you see that because they want to lead humans, they struggle in that area. So when you talk, that person will say, I'm born to lead, I'm born to lead. Not that you might not be born, born to lead humans. You might be born to lead in the area or your career or something. But people are struggling, they want to lead human beings. So I want to write a caption, born not to lead humans. Ma, is it proper? Is it okay that there are people that are not supposed to be leading in the area where they are struggling there, and they don't want to tell themselves the truth that they are not supposed to be there? Then there will be a follow-up question to the temperament when you answer this one, ma. The follow-up question on the temperament.
Okay. All right. All right, Esther. Thank you. It's I must say it's a very brilliant one. You have brought up a lot of people are in the wrong space. Just like putting round pegs in square holes. They are struggling, but they don't want to leave. Just like our politicians, a lot of them think they are leaders, but they aren't. And they don't want to leave because of the juiciness that comes from there. But if you don't lead humans, who would you lead? Our species as human beings, we are meant to lead just our own species and the lower grade, which are animals. But you cannot lead animals if you can't lead your own species. So most times, it's very touchy when you see a leader, as it were, struggling, obviously, in a certain field. I would rather say that person should take a bow and find something else. Find that thing that drives you. Esther, I hope I answered your question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you very
Find
much, ma'am.
that thing that
Then that
drives you.
follow-up question.
Okay.
Okay. All
Okay,
right.
question.
Okay.
Esther, you can come up with a follow-up question.
All right. Thank you very much, John Peters. Thank you. Ma, you said something about our temperament. Of course, we have the sanguine, the melancholy, the choleric, and the phlegmatic.
Sanguine.
The sanguine are equally, sorry. It then place where the sanguine has looked at himself or herself and have seen his or her weakness and decided that I will work on my weakness.
Yes.
And now the weakness has fizzled out. The person has gained that you don't give a sanguine files to keep in the office or write reports. You give the sanguine to read. What if that sanguine now works out the weakness and building strength in the area that the person is not good at? The person knows I'm not good in this area, but I'll work it out, and the person works it out, and the person becomes strong in that area. Is it not proper that the person should be given that role to play? What do you think, man? Thank you.
Don't get deceived by people's humans don't change. Let me shock you. Human beings don't change. They don't change. So don't get deceived, when people say, yes, I worked on my weakness. That is how they were created. That is how they were created. You could have okay, now, if you look at your weakest part, some people are a blend of sanguine and melancholy, just like me. I'm not someone you can catch and keep in the office. I won't do well. I lecture in a university. After my lectures, I'm on the road. I have people that, graduate assistants that will sit down in the office. In fact, I have a phlegmatic. She does most of the filing, paperwork and everything, and she would fix my lecture time table and she would call. My lecture is for this time. My own is, I just want to go to class, teach my students, come back, compile results, and I'm off. I'm not someone you can catch in the office to say, which file, what am I filing, what am I doing? Okay, yes, write reports, prepare this. I'm always on the move. But that's me. Won't you be shocked? In fact, you will even run away if you come to the office any day and you catch me spending like 1 or 2 hours just sitting down that which report am I? You'll be shocked. You know that all is not well. I'm pretending. That's not me. That's not me. So don't even be this. People, don't let anybody deceive you. A phlegmatic is a phlegmatic. This is purely human psychology and behavioral pattern. You can't take it away. If you study how human beings behave, you would know that human beings don't change. They only kind of twerk, according to the environment. Just like you go into a cold environment and you're cold. You go into a music-bound environment and you're dancing everywhere. That's the way humans are. Human beings know they are dynamic. They know how to mutate, but they don't change. So a sanguine is a sanguine for life, or he can have a blend. A phlegmatic is like that. Choleric is like that. Melancholic, they're like that. But they can have a blend 50-50, but not that they change. You can't change. Don't go and give somebody a role, a hyper person a role that where he's supposed to just be on the go. You fail in that field. You would fail.
Okay, thank you very much, Esther. I think Madam has really taken time attending to you. We now take another question from the floor before we go to the chat room. Akan Omoren, please come up with your question.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, thank you, madam, for very wonderful things you're telling us. I want to find out any difference between the leadership skills or leadership style in the secular world, like in government, leadership style in the religious world, and then leadership style in the traditional world? Any difference in the leadership in these three worlds I just mentioned now? Or are they all the same leadership skills?
There is no difference. It's the same. Because,
okay.
yes, at the traditional level, in the government sector, in your home, in the church, you must have these leadership skills. Otherwise, because the end result, isn't it success? You want to achieve success, isn't it? You want to achieve stability. So you must have all of this. So it applies in all facets, in all cases of life. You must have this, even in your family, in your home, in your workspace, even if in your room, if you have a roommate, if you are in your houses, if you have housemates, if you're married, between your wife and your children, all of this must come into play if you want to succeed.
All right.
Thank you.
True. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ma. Okay, we go to the chat box now and take the next question from Ruth. She said, Ma, today we see leadership as an avenue to showcase one's ego. My question is, can a leader be humble or arrogant in order for his subjects to place him or her high? I don't know if you got that question, Ma.
Yes, it depends. I think someone asked something close to this. Being arrogant or being rude or being humble depends on the situation. You don't expect, for instance, a 20-year-old that is leading a pack of 30s and 40 years or someone older than him or her. You don't expect that person to be humble, do you? They will take that person on a boogie ride. So at certain point, you must be arrogant. At certain point, you must be harsh. And at some point, you must be humble. So you look at your teammates. If you know that these are very unserious people, these are people that may take you for granted, then you have to be arrogant. You have to be hard on them. But if you look at your teammates and they are collaborative, you know, in whatever you want to do, they want this team to succeed. They are really contributing to the success of the team. Then humility sets in.
Okay, Ma. And here comes the next question from Chukuma Oyezere. And he says, please, Ma, what determines the particular leadership styles to be employed?
Okay, I think I just even answered that. You look at your team. You look at your team and you will know if you need to be assertive, if you need to be decisive, if you need to be humble, if you need to, you know, be perseverant, you know, if you need to be innovative. You look at your team and know what to do at certain points. You don't expect to have, for instance, a whole lot of difficult people in your team, and you'll now be speaking English for them. Who wants to listen to English? All they want to see is, I beg, I don't want Madam's trouble. I don't want Toga trouble. They want to see that decisiveness in you. They want to see that assertiveness in you. They want to see that harshness in you.
Okay, Ma. Thank you very much, Ma. And we have the next one from Gift Ipo, who came with a complaint that her question has not been answered. I don't know if the question came from the floor or from the chat room.
Please, let me hear it. Sorry about that, Gift.
Okay, Gift, please, if you are around, it's either you take the floor or you come to the chat room, please.
She could just send it, maybe if she's not there.
Okay, good evening, I'm here.
Good evening.
Okay, my question is, are there steps in regards to effective listening as a leader? Are there steps in regards to effective listening as a leader?
If there are steps?
Yes. Listening
is an art. Why I say it's an art is something that you practice over time. Do you understand? It's something you practice. It's not something that just pops up, or like there's step 1, step 2. No, it is not categorized. It is an art. It's something that is built over time. It could take 5 years, it could take 1 year, it could take 1 month. It depends on your mental assessment level.
Okay, ma. I want to believe Gift is satisfied now. Just
I want
Yes.
I want to
Yes.
satisfy her. I hope she is satisfied.
Yes, ma. Yes, ma. Thank you.
Thank you.
okay. We go to the main hall now, and we are seeing Mr. Davin again with his hand raised. I believe he has another question. Mr. Davin, over to you.
Okay. Ma, good evening.
Good evening, Devin.
Ma, if you say humans don't change, doesn't that contradict your earlier statement when you say leaders are groomed as opposed to leaders being born?
No, it doesn't. When I say humans don't change, I'm not talking about, or rather, I'm talking about like their personalities. Do you understand? If you give birth to a child today, you walk that child, you observe that child, and you see that this child has some bit of leadership skill in him. For instance, this child is empathic, he's resourceful. Then you begin to groom him in that direction. Do you understand? You're not putting him into another person's space. You're not trying to change who he is. You are just grooming that child in that direction. That's where he can excel. Then, if you have another child that is kind of nonchalant, nothing really excites him about, he's just living his life, and you also direct that child in that way that suits him. That does not mean you want to change. You can't change any human being. You look at the strengths of everybody and you deal with them in their strengths. You look at the weakness of people and you deal with them in their weaknesses. That's the study of human psychology and behavioral pattern. That's how it works. You don't change anybody. Leaders are groomed. You look at the strength of this child and you look at the weakness of this child and you walk that child through what you know that child will do better in. You are not changing him. If you have a sanguine, you walk him through it. If you have a blend, because in their photographic stage, by the time they get to teenage level, they start, building their personalities here and there. You walk them through it, you guide them. You are not changing them. Nobody can change. Nobody. Me as an individual, I've always been a crazy person. You can't catch me. You can't catch me in a space and this is how I've been from birth. This is how I've been from birth. They wanted me to be a lawyer, but they saw that this one cannot. Not that she's not brilliant enough, but she will struggle, So they had to groom me. I have my background in mass communication, being a broadcaster before. So they had to groom me in that direction. And of course, I found myself in the classroom. So people don't change. You will be frustrated if you try to change anybody. You will.
Okay, ma. Sorry if it seems I'm going off topic. So with this your explanation now, if like this normal saying that goes around that you can be whatever you want to.
Sorry, please. Waneri Ugochukwu, please. Can you mute your mic? Waneri Ugochukwu, thank you. Davin, you can continue.
Okay. Ma, this popular saying that says you can be whatever you want to be in life. That means that saying cannot be true with what you are telling me, because if for example my personality does not match what I aspire or what I like, that means I can't be a leader there.
No, you're rather contradicting yourself. You can be whatever you want to be. You have seen your personality, you have seen who you are. You would find your own space and excel where you know that you do best the most. Why can't you be? We all cannot be leaders. We choose where we want to be. You can be what you want to be. For instance, you want to be an engineer. Do you have the personality, psychologically, academic, and mental strength to be an engineer? Do you understand? You will not look at where I'm a counselor in my school, and I've told a lot of students there to step down. They want to be medical doctors, and I say, no, you can't make it. Go to the arts, go to the social sciences, find somewhere else where you can excel. So your destiny, you make your destiny. You can be what you want to be. You are right. If you find yourself in that space where you would excel, not where the world wants you to excel. Who told you that you can be a governor? Who told you you can be a local government chairman? No, you cannot excel there. If you have looked at yourself and you have seen that, oh, I don't get all this leadership skills thing. No, instead, let me just go into my broadcasting, or let me just go into lecturing, or let me just go into business or something. You can excel wherever you find yourself. If you look at your personality, you would understand now who you are. You don't need anybody to tell you who you are, except if you want to have a session with a psychologist. Yeah, that's fine. But otherwise, I agree with you. You can be what you want to be, but nobody can change you. No human being can change. Human beings only do better in spaces where they are found to excel.
Thank you, ma'am.
You can be whatever you want to be, but nobody will change you. Something to remember there. Thank you very much, Ma.
You're welcome.
Marvelous, you have the floor. Before we now go back to the chat floor. Is Marvelous there? Okay, in the absence of Marvelous, we go to Queen Arizuru Akoroma.
Okay, thank you. Once again, this is something that's been bothering me. Now, as a leader, you have to deal with several things, like keeping your attitude consistent so that it reflects what you want in your workplace, handling different personalities, and also ensuring that everyone is focused on the goal you want to achieve. So how do you, as a leader, not get tired of doing all of that, especially when you have to do it for a very long period of time?
Who says you will not get tired? You have to get tired. Leaders get tired. Leaders take time out. Leaders get frustrated. I'm a very factual and realistic person. Sometimes you don't see a leader exhibiting all of his weaknesses. That's because he or she wants to be strong for the rest of the team members, so that he does not or she does not send a wrong message. Who told you you must get exhausted? Do you think it's easy to lead? You must get broken at times. You must get disappointed. You must get frustrated most times. Even at yourself, you must. So it's something that you must face reality, you must face the facts. These are human traits, Queen. These are human traits. Don't ever think that you're a superhuman. Oh no, you are not. You must break down. You must cry. You must feel disappointed. You must get broken. You must get frustrated. Yes, these are natural emotions of every human being. So don't let that weigh you down. That as a leader, who told you you are a superhuman?
What I wanted to know is, after feeling all these things, how do you stay active and strong for the rest of the team, so that whatever it is that you're working on doesn't just completely go down the drain?
That's where your strength of emotional intelligence comes in. You could get broken, frustrated, and all of this that I have mentioned. When you come out in the morning and you see your team members, they see you as being strong. You must not exhibit your weakness in presence of your team. You must not. They must not see that you are struggling in a particular situation. They must see that strength. That's what builds integrity. When you go back into your room, if you have to cry, cry. When you go back to your office, if you have to rip papers, destroy files, destroy your table, do it, but not in front of your subordinates. You must let off steam. Most times when you see them, most times during lunch hour, they go take a stick of cigarettes or they go take a tot of brandy. They are trying to let off steam. It's not easy. It's not an easy road to walk in.
Okay, thank you, Ma.
Thank
We
you
go
for
to
that.
the,
Thank you.
thank you. We go
You're
to the
welcome.
chat box now, and we take this question again from Queenette Banigo, who says, please, Ma, how can you cope with an irresponsive group of people who want to believe as a leader? Thank you, Ma.
Okay. That's from Queenette, right?
Queenette, yes, Ma.
Okay. Then you have to do something exciting. An irresponsive group of people can be seen as a responsive group of people to another leader. Source for goose, source for gander. That team that you think is giving you a headache, a bottleneck, they might have an exciting leader, and they come out all cooperative. So maybe there's something you're not doing right that you need to change. And maybe you're not bringing out the best in them, or maybe you're not listening to them, or maybe there's something you're not blending, as it were, to get them out of their comfort zone. So you need to look inward. You need to work on yourself and look inward.
Okay, Ma. We take the next question from Charisma Eliezer, who says, good evening, Ma. My question is, how can a leader address the problem of low self-esteem?
Okay. Emotional intelligence, again. Low self-esteem is something that is born out of, our insecurities. It's not something that is automatic. As a leader, you have to first have that self-confidence. I mentioned it in my presentation. You have to love yourself and have that self-confidence. Otherwise, you would even find it difficult to interact. You can walk up, to your team members today, and you can't even talk to them. You can't achieve anything because you think you're not well dressed, or you think you're not wearing a good perfume, or you think that your hairdo is not nice, or you think you're not fluent in English, something. So you must at every point in time believe in yourself and have that self-confidence and self-love. Trust your abilities.
Okay, believe in yourself, have that self-confidence, and you are there. Marvelous, we go to the house now, the main floor. Marvelous, your hand is still up. I want to believe maybe you have another question, but before we know you have another question, let's take a question from Jessica Abam. Also, before we take the next question, Queen Arizuru, please off your mic. It's okay, Queen, off your mic, please. Jessica, you have the floor.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
I have 3 questions to ask.
Okay.
One is it's what is happening presently, like is the situation going on? I think I should start with that. So my question is, how do you cope with a class that has lack of cooperation and the leadership being politicized? Like, how do you make progress? That's the question. Now, let me paint the scenario. Right now, I'm a student of the River State University and I'm in level 200. So now in my class, we are known for lack of cooperation. So the leaders too politicize every single thing they do, from the course handling courses to sharing of textbooks and to other matters. And then each time a problem arises, like a problem, there's because of the lack of cooperation, there's always problems with the students and the lecturers. The students are very disrespectful. And even when you try to, even when some of the leaders that are, let's say, sensible enough or like are true to what they are doing, talk to them and plead with them, because we are all adults, we're supposed to respect our lecturers. They don't want to listen. Like we said, they are irresponsive. It's like it's not their business, forgetting that one man's thing affects every other person. So and in this situation, how do we as individuals, because me personally, I'm not a leader, but I do not like what's going on because it's affecting me and affecting other people. So how do I cope, and what do you think is the solution to this problem?
Okay, first, I think it's a leadership problem. Yeah, and that leader, maybe if it's the course rep, I don't know, is not assertive enough, because I don't see any reason why students in a class will be disrespected to the lecturer or to the course leader. The course leader is like a representative of the students, the middleman, class rep also, I think, is the representative. So I think it's a leadership problem there. And that individual is not leading by example. Because if I say our lecturer needs us to buy this textbook for so and so reason, I don't see why my classmates will disrespect me or will try to bully me when they know that I am a firm person. I don't come to give them such an information laughing with them. No. That leader has to be firm. When you know that you have a bunch of, as it were, crazy people in your team or in your class or in your organization, you must make hard decisions. You must make hard decisions. And for the lecturer, the lecturer also has issues, because if, for instance, you have lectures for 9 a.m. and at 15 minutes to 9, at 8:45, your students are not seated and you step in. No damn student steps into that class again. By the time you do it 1, 2, 3, 4 times, they will sit up, because they know. My students are all seated 5 minutes before lecture time. And the moment I step into that lecture hall, nobody comes in again until my 2 hours is complete and I leave. So they know. And if you miss that lecture, if you don't meet up attendance, you are not writing my continuous assessments, not to talk of the exam. I don't have time to sell books to anybody. So please tell the course leader, teach him, at least you're here now, teach him to be assertive and to make hard decisions. Teach that your lecturer to be assertive and to make hard decisions. Sometimes people learn the hard way. Sometimes people learn when they are humble. So do that which works for you. Teach them.
Okay, ma. Thank you very much, ma.
All right.
I want to believe that is exhaustive enough. And we have seen Marvelous, his hand is still up, meaning he has another question. But before we take a question from Marvelous, we are still appealing to Queen Aruzuru. Your hand is up again. Please, off your mic.
I do have a question.
Yes, you have a question until we get back to you. Thank you very much. Marvelous, you have the floor.
Hello. Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening.
Thank you very much. You've been a blessing tonight.
Thank you.
My question is, I'm not really trying to paint a scenario here, but I'm going to be very practical. But then first I want to cite what you said earlier. You said that anger is an emotion. You said that anger is an emotion, and then it's not totally a bad thing to be angry, because sometimes we need this anger to make constructive decisions.
Yeah.
And then we need emotional stability, at least little emotional stability, to manage our anger in public. Yeah. And then I want to ask this question: how can you salvage a scenario where you're trying to manage so your subordinates? Let me put it that way. You're leading people, and maybe in public, and day-to-day activities, something gets wrong. Yeah. When you have something to do with people, something gets wrong, and for instance, something really gets bad, and one of your subordinates gives you a hot or a dirty slap. So, and in public, and other people are there. They want to know what you're going to do. They want to know how you're going to salvage this situation. What would be your advice? What can I do if I'm that leader who one of my subordinates actually lands a hot slap? What am I going to do to prove to the other people that I am not incompetent? Thank you, ma'am.
That subordinate will be fired. Marvelous.
Yes,
that subordinate will be fired, just as a punitive measure, so that I don't get a second slap. I'm not Jesus. That subordinate will be fired, not even a suspension. Such an individual shouldn't be found in your circle. That's brute attitudinal issues. Such an individual should not be found in your circle. So if anybody has a cause to disrespect his leader openly or her leader openly, then, or go physical, that's even an abuse of the rights of the leader. That subordinate is, in fact, you'll be fired immediately. That moment you are leaving, your just carry your personal belongings and leave, so that others will not do it. Because if you suspend, they'll say, after on a suspension, she will suspend, isn't it? So, but if you fire the person, others will not want to lose their jobs. So it's a straitjacket thing. You let go of such an individual. That's the fact.
Okay, class captain, just a second. This is Sammy Wejian here. Class captain, can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir. Have the floor, sir.
Okay, fantastic. I don't think I've ever done this before, but I'm going to do it now. I just got information that our lecturer has a meeting with the executive governor of Rivers State, His Excellency Nyesomeze Nwowike, POS, GSSRS. Our lecturer has a meeting and she has to run, not with the governor, before people start sending account details, not with the governor. But she has to go. She has to go. So let me, on behalf of her, let me apologize to everybody. I know we still have a lot of questions. I actually have a question to ask, but I mean, she's, look at the time, and it's a weekend. She's a family woman. She's a busy person, but she's taking out time to lecture us. But what I want to say is this: she's a very receptive person, and she wants our development in this sense of the word. So if you have questions that are unattended to, if you have questions that are
Send it
unattended
in.
to, yes, just send it to the class captain. The same question, send it to Jessica, and then send those questions to me. I have a reason for saying those three persons. We will Jessica and the class captain will forward those same questions to me, and then let's have a chain. Then we'll forward it to Madam. I'm sure that during her period of convenience, she will answer all of those questions, and you will have your reply. So on behalf of Madam, deepest apologies to everybody. She actually has to run. She has actually spent I think about 30 minutes more than the time she was allocated for this particular session. So I apologize to everybody. Let's just do that. For those of us who have questions, just do that, and I assure you, Madam is going to answer the question. And Madam, words are not enough to say thank you for the wonderful session. I don't
Thank
think I've
you.
enjoyed any session like this since we had. Okay, let me not talk before some people go and report me. But Madam,
Yeah.
we had a great time. We had a great time. Thank you
Thank
very much.
you.
Just before we go, do you have any final words, any parting shot for us today, this evening, before we call it a day?
Yeah. I want us to know that, or rather, I want us to master the art of persuasion and influence, because it is the bedrock of effective leadership. You must know how to persuade, and you must know how to influence people. That way, you will be an effective leader, and you would have less issues, because whatever hits you in whichever way, you'll be able to deal with those issues constructively.
All right, thank you very much, ma'am. At exactly 7:34 p.m. today, I declare this session over. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
everybody.
Good
We will
night.
meet in class. Good night.
Good night.
Jessica, why is your hand up?
Oh, sorry. I forgot to go out. That's why. Why are you still on the this thing now?
Nothing.
Okay, then bye bye now. Still don't want to leave the group. Let me leave it for you. Only you should be there.
How
I'm
how 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 was the mentorship?
it was nice, although my network was giving me problems. So I didn't even get my answers. I didn't get all the answers she gave for my question, but it's okay. I can still cope. It was nice. So I really enjoyed her session. It was nice. Well,
I
how about
missed the
you?
section.
Oh, you. Oh, so
I missed the
sorry.
section. I
What
just came back now.
net?
I just came back now and I
Oh,
just
right.
on my data. So I logged in and I discovered that almost everybody was. I just saw three of you and I
Oh, okay. Oh, so sorry, dear. It's always like that. I know how it feels. You feel like, oh my God, I missed so much. And then you sometimes even if you're not if care is not taking you want to cry, but no problem. You can still watch the recorded version of the lecture. That's just me.
that is if I thought they are going to post it.
Yeah, they are. They're good. Are you new? I think you were just added to the group.
No, I'm not.
You should trust the how does Mr. Sami say it? Trust the WhatsApp of the group. Trust they will surely send the recorded version. You don't need to worry. You're okay with that, right?
Oh,
Although
well,
you still have
I
to do
wish
your
I would
assignments
have.
now.
I wish I would have been on the live one.
Oh, okay. I get it. It's always like I want to see live show. You don't want to see highlights. Understand? But you know,
I don't
but
want. I don't want highlight.
yes, so we don't want highlights. But yeah, you can see what you recorded version. That's it. Then you must do your assignment whether I like it or not. You know, Sam is seen as a very unserious person. So you have to like just read someone's work that looks lengthy and comprehensive, then form your own out of it and post it. Nobody will know whether you're attending class or not. That's how to do it. Then later you go back just so that your name will be part of the people that are serious and so that you can get your certificate.
So you
That's
want
a
me to
very
do copy and paste?
not you didn't get what I said. Listen, please listen. I said you should look at somebody's work, read it and understand it, then paraphrase or like put your own thoughts, but don't make it look like it's the person's work. So they will know that you collected it. Like you didn't attend the class. I'm not saying you should copy verbatim, you get so that
Yeah.
you be among the people that are serious. Then later you go back. That's how to do things, guy. If you don't do like that, you will just lag behind. And then next thing is that they're not giving you a certificate because you were not serious. When you were serious, maybe one or two things didn't let you attend the class. So you were not able to get the message. But it doesn't matter. Who cares if you got the message? All they want is just the what you get is the assignment. Then later you can go back and watch what you missed. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you should copy verbatim. Now, wow, they don't even know safe. So
I
that's what.
understand. Oh, so I think I saw something
Like what?
like you are one among the people they selected or not.
Okay, yeah, I am. I'm one of the persons
Yeah,
selected.
I saw your name there
Okay.
for
I'm a serious
tomorrow.
student now. Yeah.
Hey, seriously then. Mm.
Okay, thank you. I'm so happy because I've been missing other ones because of school exams. So this one now is now just four of us. So I don't like crowd. At least just us two that will be there, and and I'm happy with that. But anyways, I will make sure that I relate every single thing that happens. I write down. I record so that no, I can't record. My memory space is full, so that I can bless everybody with
Mm.
wisdom.
Wow, I hear you.
Oh God. Okay
But
then. Bye bye. Before my data goes. Yes.
okay, enjoy yourself.